Hey everyone, it is results time, and we're to the end of the BSF season. Just a few more to go, but we had Sydney over the weekend, and that was streamed. So if you want to see what went down for Standard and Tri-Reg, which we did Premium as well, basically the Premium for Tri-Reg. Also, Weiss or Shadowverse, they're all there, right? They're all there on the WCC channel. They should be up. I haven't changed anything, so should be some interesting games to watch. But also, we had Chio Cup in NIIGATA, and this is really shaping up to be a very, very interesting set. I know a lot of people have said set 3, Dimensional Transcendence, was a garbage set. It was a filler set. Nothing of interest was there. Look at this pie graph, right? Shojodoji really taking out the top slots. It started slow, right? Remember the beginning of the format, not really that many Shojodoji decks. Everyone's still at Shiranui train, but a couple of weeks after, a couple of events after, bam! Shojodoji taking that top spot over the Shiranui, and we will maybe try and see what happens later on, right? This has been reflected as well in top decks, because if you looked at last week's top decks, there was actually a lot of Shiranui. Way more Shiranui, lots of Shojodoji, not Shiranui. There was still a bit of Shiranui, but lots of Shojodoji because of the Japan thing. So, yeah, pretty interesting to see. We'll like to see how this continues. But let's get started with the results. So first off, the top 4, the winners of the Chio Cup. This was the team not having any Shiranui. In fact, are there any Shiranui? There's no Shiranuis in these top 4, right? Actual crazy. So this was a Shojodoji, Varga, and a Kairi lineup. Now this is pretty cool. We'll take a look at this later. And then next was the Messiah Shojodoji and Leonore. Then we had a Raziel, Archide, and Shojodoji, and then we had Benny, Raziel, and another Shojodoji. So basically, no Shiranuis, all Shojodojis. Let's take a look at the rest of top 16, because there's a bunch of other decks. Pretty crazy. Like, here we have a Zorga. Here's some of the Shiranuis. They were, if we were to look at the diversity cut, I think diversity cut was around 8th place. That's when it resets back to like 1 diversity stop. But yeah, Shojodoji, hyper popular. Varga as well. And, yeah, Shiranuis, they were pretty popular here in these teams. But then, really, I think the start of the day is really just Shojodoji, right? Shojodoji is the one deck that even it was in the undefeated slots, they still took it and made it in, right? So just the value of some of these decks is really high. Then we have like the Shiranuis, more Zorgas, way less Dayushas. There was like a week where there was quite a few Dayushas. And yeah, Archites, Zorgas still around, but I think we've seen a couple of Chaos. PBO is pretty interesting. They have the new Mordalian grade 2 that they can run, but I haven't really seen any deck run that. And then 16 players have a Fennel. Right, a Fennel. So there's that. Let's take a look at some of the decks. So first off, this is the Kairi deck. I think it's just a matter of time before this deck finally tops, which is pretty cool because I always like playing triple drive decks. Yeah, triple drive decks just add an element of consistency to it. Of course, they can be a bit slower, but they're just overall pretty cool. And now they have a new Sanctitude. The ride line is just a Ballista ride line. Just being able to get the draw 2 is always very, very good. But yeah, I think it was just a matter of time. I think the game plan for this deck is so simple and so consistent that you can always get yourself out of like bad situations, right? You can always search for the specific order that you want for the matchup, which is basically just like search for a ladder if you need it, or search for Sanctitude, and then the rest of it just hitting big, hitting strong, and getting triple drives. So very cool. Finally get to see this get a win, actually. Then the Shojodoji list. I think the Shojodoji list are pretty straightforward. I don't think there's that much changes you really do with it, right? You run the good cards. So you got the PRs, very strong combo there. Izaso is still very good. Some of the new support that's like crazy good new support, and then we have the Unprecedented, right? This one, it draws. Soul Blast draw, just very great. And yeah, I think overall that's just what you pick. For the JP side, they have the PR Regulus piece. This is just like a good Regulus. But I think you run anything that will be good for the situation, but if you just can't think of anyone, that one is just so generic, it just works very, very well. And then I guess a flex slot in the Energy Cycler, right? And then in the last spot, we have the Varga. So running the Virgila Varga, I guess. This allows you to have either a little bit of a push at grade 1, or just sometimes with Varga, you don't really want to discard some pieces that early. So having just a not having to discard for stuff early game might be a good thing. So pretty interesting there. I've seen some run like the grade 2 original as well, but not that far. But the rest of it's just pretty standard Varga deck. And then after that, we have the Messiah. So Messiah coming home with the new... We've been seeing how this deck can perform. It's performing better and better. And just with the new Festival Collection support. And then after that, we have the Leonorn. So Leonorn, again, highest performing deck from set 13. This is Leonorn, keeps getting some good support. So we've got the Broccoli that we finally have now in English. And then we get our replacement Diantha, I think, which is this one. This one's for the usually for Strahana, but able to get us some key pieces back is just always good to have. And then I think now we have the seed boy, right? In English, we have the seed boy. So every single set so far in Divines has been giving some extra power for this deck, which is why it's been still alive. It's still been doing pretty well in Divines. So very, very cool to see. Then moving on, we have the Raziel. So the Raziels that I've seen so far have really ditched that hostage build. They've just gone back to the good old bash them down strategy. So you just get the 4 teeth belts, for this, boom, boom, boom. No weird stuff with the nuns anymore. We're just going in like 4 Nobia. Normally we don't see 4 Nobia, right? But this, we're going full attack. Why not, right? This can get us some key pieces as well as just some of the divines to. We got this out in English as well. So Neil Paris. Right? Just more aggressiveness. More aggressiveness. Even 2x of the smash. I don't really think we... I don't think... Normally, everyone's running 1 masher, but this guy's going 2. So just go into that full-on aggression and just do it right. Old Raziel, still the best Raziel. They're not even running any counterchargers, right? Yeah, none of the dog counterchargers. So, yeah. And the other Raziel does the same thing, pretty much. Just went more aggression. But this was running some... Was the other one? Not running Biscottis. I just realized that. No Biscottis. Who cares about draw, right? But this one... kind of melding it. So, I wouldn't want 2 Nobia, 2 Neil Paris, 1 Sad, just kind of stretching itself a bit thin there. But I do like the inclusion of the grade 1 Order Searcher. This one I like a bit more. And then, yeah, the Scotties, I guess. And only 1 Masher. So, more like technically a more traditional list. But, yeah, it's pretty much just gone back from the any of the hostage Raziel builds and just gone to the aggressive builds. Also running like 1 draw and 2 fronts, which is a weird combination, right? And after that, we do have things like Zorga. So we finally got Zorga. I know we have a couple of different lists we can try right now. This one's gone back to RPD-less Zorga, which kind of, I guess it makes sense. One of the biggest counters was something like Prison, where you can just rest everything with Taser Lage. But if no one's running Taser Lage anymore, this card is pretty good. It's like free. It's like free cards, right? But running some interesting stuff here. So I guess this is the one that searches out orders. So this came out in set 2. So running 4 of this. I see a lot of the builds ran the Sailor, which is like on hit bind a order and then salvage an order. So not running that is pretty interesting. And here, which one is this one? So Soul Charges 1 against 5k. So when it's called from drop to rear. So I guess this adds some soul, right? Add some soul. So overall, not bad. Able to fill soul for the Shadow Cloak, but yeah, nothing. Just seems like a relatively normal Zorga deck. Nothing that's too outstanding in my opinion. Next is a Luard deck. So what's happening with the world of Luard? So again, this Luard not running any of the orders, but actually packing the Shadow Paladin support. So from Ordalian. So this can help you search out the key pieces that you need, like the PGs, for example, is Shadow Paladin. But I guess that's the weird thing, right? Apart from the Owls, you don't really have any countercharge of this deck. So this is running the old kind of the weaker build of Luard, because you don't have the dogs anymore, and you're just playing just as aggressively, I'd say, with just some extra consistency tech. So I don't know, maybe this is with 3 Luards as well. 3 Luard main deck, do we really need that much? I don't know. That seems a bit excessive. So yeah, it seems pretty interesting. Seeing how Luard has, I guess, evolved and devolved. It just feels like everyone's just not running the hostage stuff, right? It's kind of dropped in popularity. And then lastly was the PBO build that I kind of wanted to sneak in and take a look if they were running that new grade 2 for Medallion. But it looks like they're not. But instead, they're running a bunch of they have the PRs that they need to run. You know, the Drilling Angel that kind of synergizes with the deck. They're running this grade 1 though, from set 3. So this is Param. A lot of people didn't think she deserved the triple R slot, and it just seems like okay at best. But it looks like they're just running 3 of this and just 2 of the dual nation card. So that's pretty much all the interesting decks. I guess there's still quite a lot. If you want, you can take a look through the Japanese deck log. But I think by now we know most of these decks, and that's as far as the interest goes, right? But they're all there. They're all there. And then lastly, got BSF Sydney. So Sydney was pretty crazy. We had some really interesting decks pop up. So first place was DFG CBF. They took the Shiranui Luard combo with the Wellstra. I think most of these did, except some at the end. Joda the Magic Mouth. They brought the combo plus Ava, but then Van Bros Sigma Riz. So I think Van Bros had like two teams in top 8, but unfortunately one of them dies. But the Sigma Riz team, all right, the more brain rotted team, took the Shiranui, but then a Luhan and a Prison. So this is before set 2 is legal, by the way. So this Prison is like old school Prison. And then a legal team name with a Kairi, Messiah, and a Wellstra. So literally these decks are before they get their... Well, I guess Kairi is at a relatively good level, but Messiah before the full power festival collection set. And yeah, just a Wellstra, like the Wellstra OPOP, right? Let's take a look at some of these decks. Well, actually, we have Trireg. So Trireg and WCC Cyber decks, Derek's team, take it home with Gurgit, Ava, and a Neo Nectar. And then I'm about to come with the Luard instead for the standard. VSA Cubed taking Overlord, right? Overlord's crazy as the premium pick with a Hamskay in the V slot, and then Project Dauntless taking a Leonord, and then Shiranui and Crestnui and a Gurgit. So in terms of the decks, let's take a look at these. So first off, we have this Wellstra deck that came first. They just went full aggro. I know a lot of people like the Secretary Girl, which lets you draw. No, they just went Troll and Fry Heights and just bash face, right? Let's end the game fast. Don't worry about getting cards. Just make sure they're dead. So that's how that's pretty good, right? So it did very, very well. We've seen games on stream where the opponent got deleted in like 3 minutes. It made me sad because I had to change the stream cam or turn it off. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. Again, if you want to watch the VODs, they're there. And then next we have the first place Ava deck. So this Ava deck running 2 of the Radia Belos. So I remember this tech was seen a few times in Japan just to kind of push out a bit more power with the deck, because this deck can get pretty grindy, and this is just getting a few more powers is one of the ways to just kind of win the game, right? After that, they had 4 wavy loss. So what they actually, they just don't run Bobo Beans? Wow. Well, okay, I guess, right? 4 wavy loss, 2 Abelos. Wow, okay, crazy. Only 1 Secondal as well. That's risky, I think. I always feel like you never can have enough Secondals. And a 3-2 obfuscate line? That's wow. Okay. Luhan. So Luhan, what did Luhan get? I think Luhan really... It's not like it dropped off the radar. It's just that there's a lot of other decks that you can play, especially the Keter Sanctuary lineup, especially if you get a Keter Pilot, right? This has been a Keter Pilot in a way. You have the Sergions and the 3 Taithfelds. But because Luhan has its own kind of order, they just run that. They just run the Luhan order, right? But then it got Biscotti, so it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. So overall, Luhan, it had a very aggressive early game when you played like back then, and that really doesn't change, which is pretty decent in the current metagame, where you want to be able to do something. If you're not a stride deck, you want to be able to play aggressive and then do something on your grade 3 turn to make your opponent feel bad, especially if they're a stride deck. So I don't think it's like a terrible pick. I think it's fine, and they did pretty well, right? They came third. They came third. Here is the... this is pretty crazy. I think the Prison deck, Seraph, it's coming in 3rd place as well. It's like, how? I mean, there is always the Brad Gato tier, right? There's always the Brad Gato tier. Running a bit of a control build here. So with Taser Lage, but also still running the good stuff, right? If you're right now, if you don't have this set 2, you need to run Penetrate Aquas just to get like big power and Guard Restrict, as well as just the Muda combos, Muda Security Upgrader, and the grade 1 lineup. This is pretty much the grade 1 lineup going into any prison build soon, and like even in set 2. So yeah, pretty cool to see prison come third, right? Third place. So we have Kairi again. This one is 4th place in English, but it's pretty crazy, right? So 1st place Kairi in Japan, and then topping again in Sydney with like another Kairi build. Pretty similar builds. The only difference is that they're running the energy cycler here and not running the order surge aura, right? And then here they're not running like the ladder, bracing angel ladder. They're running Forbital instead. But you can run the ladder. You can run the ladder if you want to. So yeah, pretty cool just to see these decks do well. I think most of the deck, if not all of the deck, should be out in English. So you can just like this build and the other build, no matter which one you want, you can play them and it's just as effective, right? So pretty cool to see. And then after that, we had the Messiah. So this Messiah does not have the new festival collection stuff, but I feel like Messiah, there was like a Messiah that topped BCS last year for Sydney. So I think it's the same guy, right? The one-trick Messiah player, but look, if you're able to top with it, good on you, right? And yeah, this is got 4 of the orders, some of the cyclers, but I'm pretty sure in 2 weeks this is gonna change. So congrats there. And then lastly, you have the premium deck. Look at this, premium Overlord. Good old Overlord, going just full on the cross, and then just popping off, running Stricken for the extra crit plays. If you see like the top 8. Game, I think you wrote a Stricken, then wrote the Cross of Force 2, then like triggered a Blue OT, right? This is running Blue OT, by the way. So it's like a lot of crits at 100 million, then triggered a normal crit. So there was like a lot of crits going on. Yeah, a lot of crits. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, the Cross just going in full, I don't want to say full blast, but just like full combo, trying to destroy your opponent ASAP. Yeah, pretty cool. It's a big change from the Grand Blue, the Neo Nectar, and the Crestnuis. That was, I think, the rest of top 8. So yeah, that is all the list this week. Pretty cool to see some of these decks, and pretty interesting to see how some of these decks made top 8. Like, they didn't even, they didn't have the new support. So yeah, pretty cool. Let me know what you guys all think in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. All right, bye.